Shares of Google bounced back today, up almost $8 as investors reassess the impact of Apple's sweeping legal victory on tech players like Google. Is that a game changer for Google and its Android system? To answer that, we turn to David Garrity. He's technology analyst with his own firm, GVA Research. So, David, do you think this Apple win means that Google is going to have to change things up a bit?
No, I mean, I think with respect to Google's Android operating system, we may see a few changes, but understand first and foremost that Google makes Android available to handset manufacturers free. So from that standpoint, if handset manufacturers, despite the win that Apple had against Samsung, if these handset manufacturers who are Android users wish to migrate away from Android because of the litigation risk, the cost they face is having to develop their own software, which is clearly a very expensive proposition.
But, I mean, doesn't the Apple win complicate things a little bit? Will Google have to reevaluate any of its products or strategies? Is it going to have to modify anything in the current devices?
I'm sure that the handset manufacturers are going to come back and suggest to Google that there's some changes be made, that a certain amount of innovation is required in order to try to differentiate the operating system software away from what Apple has with iOS. But again, Google's best defense here in terms of arguing with its partners or negotiating with its partners is that, look, Google incurs all the costs of developing the software in the first place, and that the handset manufacturers use it at their own risk. And obviously their alternative is, well, either you can go out and use Apple's software, which they can't because they'd have to pay a big license fee and Apple wouldn't license it, or they'd have to go to someone else such as a Microsoft or possibly a Research in Motion, and that's something that's unlikely as well. So I think we're in a situation here where Google will continue to be very strong in the marketplace with Android.
You know, David, there's been this long-standing rivalry between Apple and Google, and then after this Apple legal victory, there was a lot of speculation on whether Apple is going to go have any legal scuffle with Google. You know that they've had debates over, YouTube and videos and Google Maps and a whole bunch of things. Is there a legal fight in the works here between Apple and Google?
Well, there already is currently. I mean, in terms of, if we look at the International Trade Commission, the ITC, there currently has been an action actually where it's been Google through Motorola Mobility, which it now owns wholly, where Motorola Mobility has been suing Apple for patent infringement with respect to patents that Motorola had. However, if we were to look at simply an Apple versus Google relative to software patent litigation case, it would be very abstruse and it would be very difficult, I think, for a jury to go through potentially millions of lines of software code and come to a meaningful conclusion that there is or is not patent infringement.
All right, let's move and talk a little bit about the stocks. You're recommending both stocks, Google and Apple. Let's take a look at the Google chart. The stock is getting close to its high in 2007 of $707. Why do you like it? And then tell us why you like Apple.
Fundamentals for Google are strong. It looks like they're actually being successful in terms of monetizing mobile search, and I would say that's based upon their June quarter results. And also, going into the end of the year, the holiday shopping season is a good time for search traffic and typically benefits Google's stock.
Do you buy Apple at $775 or time to take profits?
In Apple's case, you probably have their largest product launch effort with iPhone 5 expected in September and probably selling over 50 million units. You'll have various iterations also with the iPad, I think, again, ahead of the holiday shopping season. So here with Apple and Google, both stocks fundamentally attractive.
Any disclosures, David?
We own Apple in the fund, personally, and also in the family. Google, no such ownership.
All right, David, thanks a lot for coming on the program. David Garrity of GVA Research.